This is my dying request. I'm literally dying right now, and I don't have a lot of time left. I went to the hospital yesterday. I had a lot of blood tests done. I've got to go for scans on Thursday. I was diagnosed with stage 4 lung and throat cancer in 2022. And the last thing left they offered me was chemotherapy, and I knocked it back. I didn't want the chemotherapy. I had a lot of faith, and I wasn't afraid of death at all. And I'm not saying I'm Superman or anything like that, and I don't want you to get that wrong perception either, because my cancer's been a battle for many, many years. And most people are oblivious to it. I've struggled with a lot of things in my life that most people know nothing about, even my own family, my own loved ones, my own friends. There's a lot of things they don't know about me. They think they do, but they actually don't. And that's why this is my dying request, that this video be given to all my family and friends and they hang on to it. And one day soon, when I'm gone, I hope you'll take the time to really listen to what I have to say. Because if you really do, it might change your perception about a lot of things and about what you believe in. I've gone through a lot of things in my life that most people cannot explain. And I've seen things, learned things that most people never will, because they never follow my footsteps. And you have to be in my footsteps to see the things I have, to know what I know. But my battle with cancer, I've been throwing up or coughing up blood every day now for about 2 months straight. I wake up 2, 3, 4 hours a night coughing up blood. When I make a video, I hold back, and as soon as I finish a video, I have to sit down and cough up blood. And it's getting more and more intense every day. And it's got to a point where I went to the hospital, and they just said it's a big bad sign, really bad sign. I may have to get a blood transfusion. I remember a few mates that died from cancer, and a couple of my mum's friends, and an old guy named Charlie, Tony's father. I was on the phone with him a lot when he died from cancer, with stomach cancer, and he was vomiting blood all the time. And he went in for blood transfusion for about the last 3, 4, 5 months. He said he felt like a broken down 4-cylinder, but when he went for blood transfusion, he felt like a brand new V8. And I'm starting to feel on my broken down 4-cylinder. And the doctor said to me yesterday, listen, we give you a blood transfusion, you feel like a new man. And I thought, yeah, right, I've heard this before. And I could kind of relate to it, because I'm getting more weak. I've lost a lot of weight. I'm down to 61 kilos. I went down from 84 kilos in the last few years. And I'm slowly losing more and more weight. So my battle with cancer, I'm getting extremely weak when I go shopping. I have to pick my times to go shopping because I can't really carry shopping bags and things like that. And I find it hard to walk in staircases. And I'm home more and more because I really can't get around too much because I lose my breath a lot. Even making videos, I lose my breath. But look, I'm really making this video to my family, my lovers and my friends as a dying request. I want you to know something. It was in 2004 in prison that I had 4 lots of cancer cut out. And it was at that time they shoved the camera down my throat, because the fact is, I was on drugs when I was a child in my teenage years. I flatlined with a drug overdose at 18 years old in Ipswich Hospital, and I walked around like a zombie before we go after a major drug overdose. I watched a lot of my mates die from heroin and other drugs, and 3 died very close to me in my arms by the time I was 18, and I OD'd myself. Me and a guy named Spot Levy, And there was 3 girls, and Robert Hesper, a friend of mine, was there as well. And me and Spot OD at the same time was dragged to hospital, and we both flatlined. Sorry, Spot didn't flatline, I did, but he was very close. And it was one hell of an event. I had a raging habit with methadone at the time. My mates were on heroin, but I wouldn't put a needle in my arm. But I took a lot of methadone, a lot of pills at the time, and I got free methadone all the time. I remember being 74 kilos and went down to 51 kilos and went to the doctors, and they couldn't help me. And I was losing so much weight, I was white as a ghost, and I wasn't really well. See, the fact is I was rejected by my family as the black sheep of the family. I got picked on a lot at school and left about 13 years old. I couldn't deal with a lot of things. I suffered a lot of stress and anxiety. And it all began with my mum. Okay, when I was 5 years old, I said to my mum, "Mum, where were we? What happened?" She said, "What are you talking about, son?" I said, "Mum, we're sitting in the cell, I'm sitting in your arms, and I'm getting this nightmare all the time, and I'm shit scared, Mum, and you're shit scared, and we're looking outside from a cellar window, in a cellar, we're looking outside a window, and there's bombs outside, Mum, where were we? What happened?" My mum said it's a freak of nature, I was dreaming. And so, it's proven today that with our hereditary genes, we have so many gene defects from families. That's hereditary. We've got 600 to 6,000 defective genes, and most of them are hereditary genes from family trees. And that's proven by Jeremy Gibbs and the top bowlers in the whole world. And what really happens here is that I have my genetic memory, my genetic ancestry tools, and they say the last human being born on Earth that has those abilities was 1960, with mental telepathy, ESP, remote viewing, telekinesis, levitation, spoon meeting, clock winding, folding space and time with day, shabu in a time where time is still and predicts the future, and can prevent what's going to happen with the past. And that's been recorded by the top bowlers in the world in the DNA studies done. And what really happens to me here at 5 years old, I'm having visions and dreams, right, and nightmares, and telling my mum about the worst moment in her life in 1945 in World War II, and it wasn't me. And I didn't know, because I was drowned in bathtub at 2 years old, and I didn't know that neither. But when I died at 2 years old, when my mum finally told me, it came back to me in a flash, hit me like a ton of bricks. But that wasn't until 2017, when my mum told me the truth, that this was the first worst moment in her life in 1945 in World War II, and it wasn't me. I didn't know for 50 years. Mum never told me. She told me I was drowned in a bathtub at 2 years old, clinically dead. And I freaked her out when I told her this. She thought I came back to haunt her because I didn't say nothing about God. Mum did believe in God, but I said nothing about God. I was only 5 years old. I was just a child. I was innocent. I didn't know nothing about God. And I just said to Mum, "Where were we? What happened?" And I was shit scared. And I said, "Mum, where were we? What happened?" I get this nightmare all the time. And it was like a deja vu vision from the past. And our genetic memory, we have our genetic process with genetic gene defects. So my mum got bipolar in 1974, okay, because she was nervous, right, from this personal problem from when she was a child in 1945. So she had a lot of stress and anxiety and got bipolar. Now, this is proven with DNA studies and the biggest malware research. So mum got bipolar, and then I got stress and anxiety, and I got bipolar as well. My mum never really cured. She took Valium and dealt with it right through the rest of her life. But me, I went to see a psychiatrist. I had a lot of medication as well, but I threw it in the bin, right? Because I was on Prothidin, the safest drug in the world, they claim. But my ex-wife, Kirstine Ashley, in Ipswich Hospital in 1992, she took a lot of drugs, right, because she was raped by her dad. And I didn't know. I was only with her for about 8 months. And she flatlined and was narcaned at my place and rushed to Ipswich Hospital with 0% chance living. And they said they worked on her frantically, but they didn't like a chance. She died 3 times in hospital. She flatlined. And a miracle happened in hospital, right, recorded with 7 billboards and CCTV. When she flatlined, all of a sudden her body lifted 8 inches off the bed, one end to the other, and she came back to life. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. She wrote the most powerful poem in 2003, #1 worldwide for 8 months, the one and only. And she was interviewed, right, by Jeremy Gibbs and the top bowlers in the whole world, because this was one of the biggest miracles they've ever seen in hospital with 7 peer reports and on CCTV from 1992. And what she said blew my mind away. And I didn't believe it myself. But she said I had the power to bring her back to life, and I was the one that prayed at the time to sacrifice something to bring her back. She knew that, and I thought to myself, man, this spun me out. I knew it was some kind of miracle, and she lived to tell it, but I never believed it had nothing to do with me. Not in a million years. Not in a million years. And that poem represents I'm the one and only that had the power to bring her back to life. And I couldn't wrap my mind around that. But, you know, I found that out in 2004 at the same time when she wrote that poem in 2003 when I was in prison. At that time, I had 3-4 lots of cancer cut out. Okay, they shoved the camera down my throat, and they did that with me back in the early 90s. I had 3,300 peptic ulcers, right, like alcoholics get. When alcoholics drink, they get stomach cancer and vomit blood, like Charlie, right, Tony's father. And he was an alcoholic, a really bad alcoholic, right up till he was nearly 50 years old. And then he stopped drinking, but it's too late. He had peptic ulcers for his life the same way. And I had the same thing. I used to take Melinda and everything for reflux and heartburns. I had them really, really bad. And a lot of people thought it was stress, but it wasn't. It was the peptic ulcers from the drug abuse from drinking methadone. And I was told that methadone was a lot worse than alcohol when it comes to eating up your stomach and drinking it the way that I was. And so they had checked me out with a camera down my stomach a long time ago and told me I had about 3,300 peptic ulcers. All the scans are there. So what happened was something strange. And that was in 2000. A friend of mine, Don McDonald from Koroi, he had the same problem. He had stomach ulcers to the shit house from a drug abuse, from drinking alcohol in his earlier years. He was straight as a die and a beautiful person. One of the best friends I've ever had in my life was Don McDonald. And he's just such a beautiful person. But he had a sister that married a doctor in America. And they were doing a program testing a drug for peptic ulcers and stomach ulcers. And so Don McDonald, he found that out from his sister who was married to this doctor. And he got put on this program and cured. And I found out about that. And I said to Don, I said, Don, can you get me on that program, man? He said, yeah, I can do that. So he got me on it, and I took these drugs. I think it was for about 6 months in 2000. So I never got any results, never went back to the hospital. I just took the drugs that I was put on for 6 months. I had to take about 40 tablets a day. And it made you sick. There were so many tablets, it was incredible. And I'll tell you what, I had hepatitis C, which I accidentally got in prison. And I was put on interferon here in Denmark when I came here to Denmark, and I cured it. And that was a 3 months process, which is also chemo medication. And they're all chemo medications. And the same medication for cancer. You learn that with interferon. And I went on that program here for 3 months in Denmark and beat hepatitis C. But when I had hepatitis C and I went through that program, I had the same ugly feeling and the same horrible feeling that I had in those tablets that I took in 2012. And but I never got back to the hospitals. But I was sick as a dog taking these tablets the same way for 6 months. And that's what Don said, you might get a bit sick on these, but it cures it. I didn't care about what I was feeling. I just went through it, never went to the doctors. When I went to jail, it was in 2004, that they cut cancer out of my, I had it here, right down the side here, okay, across here and down in here, and on my arm, on the section of my arm where my tattoo's missing here. And it had been here, this spot of cancer here by 2004, it had been there for about 10 to 14 years. And it goes right back from the time I had the ulcers. And I've got to explain that the ulcers are the same type of cancer as the skin cancer. It turns into that. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. It's what I got told. But then in 2004, when I had all this cancer cut out, okay, 4 different spots, they put a camera down my throat and they said the peptic ulcers were gone. And they thought it was a misdiagnosis because they had no cure for this by 2004 that was available yet. So they had nothing for peptic ulcers in 2004. So they thought for a moment that my first x-rays and my first test that somebody mixed the documents up, but that wasn't true. but they couldn't understand how. And when I explained to them, they didn't even believe me. But I was right and they were wrong. They didn't know. Okay, but here's something funny. I'm in jail, and I battled with cancer, and they find cancer in 4 different places. I get it cut out. In the biggest mental health research ever conducted in global history, led by J.M. Gibson, 15,000 top scholars all over the world, they first went into DNA studies in prison in 2001 and mental health research to try and find the cure of the human conditioning and everything we suffer from. We suffer from stress-related diseases and die prematurely, right? Reported worldwide in post-human states in 1999. So they went in the biggest mental health research and DNA, and they started in prison in 2001. Now, I go to jail at that time, and when I went in there, right, I go here with cancer, I go through a lot of things in jail, but I also stay in jail under the mental health research and biggest DNA study at the same time. In 2008, okay, I was listed by bipolar for more than 8 years under Dr. Alan Freed and on heavy medication. In 2008, they discovered that I cured bipolar and they thought it was incurable. First, they thought it was a misdiagnosis. I went over it twice for 6 months in jail, but I found the cure of the human conditioning and preserved DNA in my biology. I had a major heart attack fitted with 3 stents fitted, supposed to take 5 medications for the rest of my life and stop smoking, and I didn't. In 2012, when I come out of jail, okay, 2012, I had a strange event, okay, and you need to listen to me carefully. I was clinically dead for 23 minutes, and I left my vessel, right, and I watched my own vessel walk away in one of the most spectacular events that nothing in the world prepared me for. I had friends here that saw this and went through the adverse effects and knows this story. No matter what's going on, I had a massive UAP, unexplained aerial phenomenon as described. So I'll say it as such, an unexplained aerial phenomenon that happened to people all over the world in the 212 phenomenon. The military is talking about it, okay? Scientists are talking about it because a lot of people went through it, right? And I discovered that the hard way, that I wasn't the only one. I run into friends that had exactly the same event, exactly at the same time. Identical. In that moment, I went through a massive transformation for 3.5 years. I cannot explain in a way you'd even understand, but let me tell you something. I was deported to Denmark, and when I was in the detention center, you have to listen to me carefully. When you're in detention, they do a medical file on you and a medical record, right? And they make sure they fix everything before they send you out of the country. It's mandatory. So while I'm sitting in a detention center, it took more than 8 to 9 months to establish all my history in Denmark, right, through Danish consulates. At the same time, I was under 8-month investigation with the hospital, going backwards and forwards to make sure everything was all right. I had a major heart attack with 3 stents fitted. I had a major stroke in 2012, clinically dead for 23 minutes, woke up 36 hours later, paralyzed from my neck down, told I would never walk in, got up and walked out when my son walked in. They claim I had 900 milligrams of Valium in my system at the same time, right? And when I woke up, they didn't know how. I couldn't move nothing from my neck down. And I told the doctor, call my son. He had left the hospital not long ago on his way home. He said, Kim, you can't do nothing. You're paralyzed from your neck down. And he said to the nurse, put him back under induced coma. I said, don't, I'm gonna get up. And I started moving my arm. And I worked frantically for 45 minutes to move every limb in my body except for my right hand leg. My son walked in because he called my son. By that time, they thought it was a misdiagnosis, and of course, I believe that too, obviously. But when my son walked in, I put my arm around his shoulder and I limped out. Craig knows that, my son. I was limping in my leg for 3.5 years. It's a known fact. 3.5 years I continued to limp with my leg. But I was going through an event, right, through genetic memory and a genetic process with visions and dreams with deja vu, where I could see things in the past and the future, and it scared me. But I started to change so much that my own family and friends didn't even know who I was anymore, right? They thought there was something wrong with me and I was on drugs. And they accused me for all sorts of horrible things. People accused me for being a dog, right, everywhere. And it got around really bad. And when I went through this and I wasn't in my right mind, and I went through this massive event, people took advantage of me really bad. I got robbed 5 times in my home. Banditos took my car, bashed the fucking living shit out of me because I wasn't in my right mind. And these rumors got around amongst my family and friends. I never heard no one or dobbed anyone, but it got around really bad, right? And my family spread that rumor amongst people and said the cops said I was evil, and they spread those rumors around as well. And all my friends and family that knew each other spread the same rumor around. And man, I got pummeled, right? I got attacked in 7 comas over the next 300 years, next 3.5 years, right? I went to hospital twice, lost that much blood and got half beaten to death. I got beaten half to death, right, in a motel in Ipswich, right, and cut through my ear, right. I got a massive infection, right, and I went through this crap. I couldn't believe what I was going through, right. In 2012, I flatlined and went through this for 3.5 years. I could not believe what I was going through. I couldn't believe it, right. I got attacked and tied up by 13 people and robbed, okay, and stabbed 27 times. Infections everywhere. Big, massive infections. I went through all this, right, with 7 times in hospital with a coma and twice nearly bled to death and stabbed 27 times, all separate events, right? Everybody was attacking me for things I hadn't done. From rumors everywhere. And I went through hell. And people said I was a drug, right? My own family said I was on drugs and I was being a junkie. And it wasn't even true. Not one word was true. But my own family didn't want to know me and lied about me everywhere, and I couldn't understand why. I just couldn't understand why they were saying these things. And I couldn't understand what I was going through. I did 10 years jail. All my people that went to jail, we didn't even do any more than 3 years. They said I told them, what a load of crap. They all lied everywhere about me. Every one of them. Go look at my documents. Go and look at every bit of evidence. Go and have a look at all the brief evidence. Go and have a fucking look. There's no such statement. I've never done such thing in my life. I took down the highest death home in Canada advance and misfund for 30 years, and my rescue officer commends me and retires the police force. So did 4 other cops, and course the Royal Commission has been paying out for 23 years, and the Stolen Declaration of Poverty being paid $250 billion a day, and the biggest mental health research ever conducted in global history with DNA study done. And I have the most authentic DNA in the world, told by the biggest polls in the whole world. The most authentic DNA in the world with genetic memory and genetic repair kit. I cure the human conditioning in Ebola in 2008. I get a major heart attack with 3 stents fitted. I die in 2012 and flatline. Powerless went down, told the nibble again, go to Perth Hospital. And 2016, I'm sitting down with 2 top scholars in the world for 6.5 hours. And they said, Kim, you're one of a kind. We interviewed your wife. She said you brought her back to life with divine power to command nature. And we sit in your biology, Kim. You've got brand new Ardis around your stents. You don't take the drugs, Kim. You never took the drugs. Kim, you've cured your stomach cancer. That was on the verge of going to stomach cancer. You've cured a lot of different things, but also grew brand new Ardis around your stents. You never took the medication, Kim. Kim, when you died in 2012 and you're paralyzed from that down, we can now prove with your Neuralink, you're still limping on your right hand leg, Kim. We're telling you, go back to that moment because you did it yourself. It was not a misdiagnosis, we can tell, because you're still limping in your leg. There's nothing wrong with your Ardis. You repaired everything and grew a brand new Ardis around your stents, Kim. And you don't take the medication. You don't do any of this construction you were told to. You do the opposite. You go through fight flight mode and you work against the grain, Kim. We studied people who died in 2012 in the 212 Anonymous and gone through this transformation, Kim. Many people through a DNA, genetic memory and transformation that you're going through. We can confirm, Kim, that you were in fact dead and paralyzed from neck down, got up and walked out yourself. Kim, you can fix your leg yourself, right here, right now. If you go back to that moment and go out of your mind, right, into your primordial state, Think instinctively, don't think mentally and psychologically. Think instinctively, Kim. As the movie said in the Matrix documentary, Kim, you brought out the drug with the natural abilities on testing centres across Australia in the Starch inquiry. You were the most wanted, Kim. And in that Starch inquiry, the gatekeeper report, you're the biggest mastermind in their documents who's done 7 things that no one's ever thought of. You stamped an Indian number in such a way that couldn't be detected with an X-ray machine. You're a mastermind of loopholes to laws of manipulation, right? On 17 current affairs shows in 1994. You're on the front page as a King Boss in 1992. You're the most wanted by the biggest Starch inquiry held on the 1st of January 1999 with 105 people arrested, right? Your arresting officer, Craig Duran, commends you and said you have godlike power when they put direction microphones in you. You could feel the truth when they were standing in the courtroom and put pen to paper, and you saw it with deja vu through the sixth sense, the third eye, the picture of the Towers of Thousands was going to lie to you. Like in the movie Madame Web, you could see the future, Kim, and you prevented what happened. You became the most wanted with that kind of power, and it was your truth serum, the most powerful enlightenment drug in the world that you developed in the underground world and every testing centre across Australia, and we saw that in DNA studies in mental health research when they all came to prison from 2001 and onwards. And we found your DNA and everybody else's as well that went back in their primal state to use their natural abilities like the movie limiters, to use 100% of their brain with an outside influence on their reality with a vortex of information with the universal language you see in the movie limiters, because that movie's made with your drug, Kim. The one that you developed in every testing centre and every document to back it up. You developed glass in such a way that no scientist ever thought of. That took a 14-hour process down to 3.5. That put you to the scene of the crime, and your brother knows that, Jeff. The glass blower had 40 labs with that glass, and it's in the brief of evidence. They tested the glass, Kim, and they realised you made the most powerful truth serum in the world, right? And the most powerful glass that took a 14-hour process down to 3.5 that no one ever thought of. Nobody. Kim, you're on the front page of the Brisbane Courier Mail on the 18th January 2001 with a shipping container fully loaded guns with Vince Mann's property. You were able to take over the 2 top scientists from NASA with the Sumerian tablets who created Hitler's plan. And you created the drug from the Sumerian tablet that Christ has Moses used in biblical history. The same thing on Sumerian tablets. You created bread manna, the most authentic drug in the world from a plant called Mayang. You did, Kim, and it's on every testing centre that brought people back in the primal state to use 100% of their brain and all their abilities with their supernatural power. Kim, we know in the biggest study ever done, but see, cancer, I've been battling since I was on methadone, right? Methadone from 16 to 21. A raging junkie. Had 1 foot in the grave, my body organs were shutting down, and a car accident saved my life. And I didn't take drugs ever again. But what did I do? Save people. Save people and change all the circumstances. In the brothel, I was charged 17 times with no case to answer to, and Peter Beattie set the model. And Squishy, psychiatrist, said we create the most positive atmosphere in Savage Corner, Queensland, and they used our model to revamp the laws and became legal again. Known fact. That's why my arresting officer, he stayed with me for 10 years and watched me like a hawk and stood in my court and said, these people don't know him. I know him better than anyone. There's no evidence against him. David Kirk was set up, right, and put all the evidence against me with unexplained income. He robbed Ford Motor Company $500,000. He wasn't convicted. He set up the documents with unexplained income. But in 2004, when I'm charged for money laundering, it's proven I gave 90% of my money away. More than $70 million in the whole case. $70 million I gave away to people around me. And my family, lovers and friends that I helped out, absconded and left me there to dry. The people I loved the most left me in jail, that I helped the most with money. Didn't care about me at all. And here's reality. They plead guilty to money laundering because they took my money. Not because I was guilty. I got done for fraud. I beat the money laundering case in 2004 with Chief Justice Jersey in a Supreme Court examination in 2007. Then they tried to unlawfully deport me, right, under an a ministry's decision that can't be appealed. Then I challenged the witness protection case because I put my wife and kids in witness protection against their will. Then Chief Justice Jersey takes that into Parliamentary Crime and Misconduct Inquiry. And in 2010, he declares these 2 cases in every university as the most corrupt case in Australian history by the biggest judge on the bench in the Parliamentary Crime and Misconduct bench. Now, I had nothing but corruption in jail. They tried to put me in jail forever with the mental disorders and it backfired. They tried to deport me and it backfired. And every single thing backfired in their face. And when I came out of jail, what did they say to me in jail when they stopped my book in 2004? Why the fuck did they stop my book? Because I was exposing what they were doing with Martin Bryan back plan, but we had the guns and the front page paper that the taxpayer paid for 5 years earlier, and mind control weapons. Everyone's under mind control can use 7 to 15% of their brain. I use 100%, and people don't like it. No, they don't. They say I'm crazy when they're trapped in their mind with a personality, with mentality and reverse psychology, and they cannot do what I can do. They don't have their abilities. They don't even know who I am. They don't even know who I am. My family has got no idea who I am. They got no idea. They won't read the documents. They believe in nothing but the voice of one that tells them otherwise. As Jeremy McGiver says, the voices in your mind are ultimately deciding things in, because it's artificial intelligence, it's only personality. You cannot think outside the mind instinctively, as I tell you in the Matrix documentary. Those are the things dealing with tune that program. As I told you worldwide in the IPP signing reports in 1999, we're going into 6 mass extinction, stripping the 6th sense for the 6th time. And the last human being born on Earth that can think instinctively with their 6th sense, with their genetic memory, was born in 1960. And God damn it, I'm the last one that can do everything Christ can and more my DNA with the most powerful confirmation, most powerful evidence, right, with miracles in hospital. And it's not a fucking joke. It's real. I've been clinically dead 3 times. Crossed over and come back. I brought someone back to life without realizing it. I didn't even know. I had amnesia because we all have amnesia. And I woke up from amnesia in 2012 and went through a strange phenomenon. And then got picked on and stabbed 27 times and many different things. Right? Go look at all my hospital records, what I went through. Tied up and stabbed 27 times. 7 different comas. Flatline. Right? Went through a lot of hell. Had both my cars stolen. Had everything stolen from me and robbed. I got robbed 7 times. I had nowhere to live. I had to live on the couch, right? Couch surfing. I couldn't trust one family or friend. They didn't care. They said I was a junkie when I wasn't. And I was being attacked everywhere and robbed to the shithouse because of the rumours. I went through hell. And you think anybody cared? Not at all. They just lie and live in their own truth and manifest all the time and haven't got a care factor. How do you think I feel? Who cares, right? Who fucking cares? Just lie and live in your own truth and lie to everyone you can. That's what everybody does. There isn't one human being on earth telling the truth about me. You go look at the documents here by the biggest think tank in the world and the 2 top scholars with DNA studies done and a mastermind reports by the biggest think tank for 34 years, since 1984. You go read all the documents about me in the mastermind reports and 7 peer reports on 7 documents by the biggest think tank in the Star Champion in 1999. I am the most powerful mastermind that ever dealt with. Reality's a bitch, and everyone lies about it. And I've got to put up with that shit every day of my life. Right to the day that I die, yet I sacrifice every single thing in my life for this moment right now with the resurrection of humanity, with the book Freedom by Jeremy Gibbs, held by 16,000 top scholars in the world, the Holy Grail of life. We can do what Christ can and more, and I'm solid evidence. And as Jeremy says, we found the last human beings born on earth that can do every single thing that Christ can and more. And it's my DNA and my research that led to the cure of this. So you never suffer again. But I've been suffering every day of my life, fighting cancer like you wouldn't believe. I'm still here. I'm still battling every day of my life and never give up on anyone. Everybody gives up on themselves. I'm the most powerful godfather this world has ever seen without having a left and right hand man and a gun. And that's what got their attention. That I put every network together and took down the highest death of American cattle and violence and domestic violence in 30 years. Ever seen in 30 years. Single-handedly. And when my arresting officer saw that work plummet in the police station nationwide, how do you think he felt? How do you think he felt? 40 cops and politicians retired and set the standards here, right, with the buyback plan, when they saw that in the front page, with squizzies that Peter model the law with mental health research DNA, that caused the Royal Commission and the stolen back generation of Polly, where they bombed and killed all their parents in the 40s and the 50s. And lie about it. Lie about it so much because they're pure evil. Go look at the Royal Commission. Go look at the Fitzgerald inquiry. Go look at the Rotting Rich inquiry. Go look at the Wolf's inquiry. Go look at the Rotting Rich inquiry. Cops and politicians control the whole lot. Every fucking one of these you turn a blind eye to. And you think I'm evil when you support the most evil scum of the world. And we set the standards here. We set the standards here about righteousness, what you're going into, and you're declared a post-human and post-human stage, warning revelation on documents all over the world, with voice in your mind, ultimately designed for human extinction and dying prematurely from stress-related disease. And guess what? You're all suffering stress. Your body shows a corruption illusion in the daytime and can only appear at night time. And me and a handful of people, we can do a genetic process in 2008 with genetic repair kit to preserve DNA. Self-preservation for life. So I grow a brand new Ardis around my stance. I'm powerless, my neck down, get up and walk out myself. And then in 2016, in front of these biologists, they tell me, Kim, think instinctively and you can fix your leg yourself. So after limping for 3.5 years, I stand up in that room, right? I go back to fight flight mode and think instinctively and repair my leg like that because they gave me faith to use my natural abilities and told me I wasn't crazy and I wasn't mental and that everybody else was wrong. And Kim, you're the one that's right. You're the primordial being in the whole world with the most powerful documents on earth to back it up. No one can lie about you, but they do. Imagine you're told this and then you fix your leg yourself after living for 3.5 years. You don't know what it feels like in that moment, but you know what people don't know, how to do something like this. Now, I've been sitting here for 5 years every day. Let me tell you something. Go to the witness page right here and you'll see what I've been telling you for 5 years. Right here, I've been predicting things non-stop, and 2, 3, 4, 5 months later, the videos are coming through with disclosures worldwide. Are you aware of that? This book here, I predict the future with 220 to 227 onwards. 220 onwards. Perfectly. That book's become evidence that I predict the future. And it's on documents by the biggest think tank in the world. You can see my videos here that no one in the world tells you. But I'm the biggest mastermind in the world that can use 100% of my brain, and the whole world can only 7 to 10. 1% can use up to 15%. Only a handful can use 100. And CIA documents, and the biggest think tank in the world by NSA and Australian Crime Commission has released these documents. I'm one of a kind. They've released these documents. I'm one of a kind. You can go and buy every document to satisfy your brain because you have no faith. You have no trust and faith at all. And this is my dying request because right now, you see how I am? Full of light, power, and energy, right? Full of vibrations because you create DMT, right? The euphoria, the METH effect, you can see in the movie Limits, and you're alive. And when you're alive, you can repair genetic memory. With genetic memory, you can do things that's so far beyond the mind because I've done it before. Now, I'm not saying I'm not going to die because I know I am. I know my time's running out because I know the future. The same way Christ did. I know my future. I know I've got to go. I know I'm doing the crossover. Moses, right? He ascended body and mind. They came and get this body, right? Okay, Elijah and Enoch was ascending body and mind. Many people did. 27 of Aboriginals. It's known for a fact, I'm not only talk about this, but you see the video from an American that also came out with the information. 27 Aboriginals were born without fathers and also ascended body and mind. There are 15 books written in Australia about this. One guy was shot 9 times in Australia 250 years ago. He resurrected 9 times and he ascended body and soul. He wasn't the only one. They killed 72,000 in Australia and Queensland, right? In 1929, they could ascend, right? A new resurrection and had all their natural abilities with a double Y-double-X chromosome. Out in the outback of Australia, there are 500-year-old Aboriginals, 10 feet tall and the most loving, compassionate creature on earth with the most powerful divine intervention to command nature. Look at my videos here with Marin. Trees bend down to talk to Marin like they do. And if you look at my videos, many live videos, orbs of light can be coming through here on live videos. I made a video this morning, the most powerful video you need to pay attention to with the depopulation brain. 3 different titles. You'll see the orbs come in here and you'll see we've had visitors here like Tom, Philip and Garrett and many others up here. They've been right here in this room when these orbs light come in here. So they've experienced that and made videos about it. If you seriously listen to people that have been following me the last 4 or 5 years, look at their testimonies on my platform, Street Wisdom Bible, and the testimony. Listen to their words. They've learned through the book of life, the Holy Grail of Life with When I Breathe the Program, the Holy Breath of Life. The most powerful confirmation with the biggest merge in human history was 16,000 top scholars in the world on the same page through natural selection and natural order, a new era we're coming into in our sixth sense. We're going in a sixth mass extinction strip in the sixth sense for the sixth time. And the whole world suffering mental disorder and defects going through the roof. Worldwide in the biggest pandemic in global history. And I made a powerful video about that before with the most powerful confirmation on earth. All over the world. Mental disorders and defects are hurting people all over the world. Because they can't use their genetic memory to prepare. And we do. We teach them how to think outside the mind, right? With their natural abilities and their primordial state. I went through this transformation for a reason. And I'm teaching people every day. Every day for 5 years. I'm the most powerful father you'll ever come across. But I've failed my own family. You know why? Because I haven't got faith. There's no love in them. No loyalty, honour, respect, moments, inspiration, encouragement. They don't care about nothing. Only their judgmental competitive behaviour. Only what they believe in mentality. And accuse everybody what they're guilty of and lie all the time. How do you expect me to deal with that? I love my family more than they ever know. Because they're trapped so deep into themselves and all their poison that they carry. And all their own guilt factors for what they've done. And they never ever tell the truth. They know nothing about me. They know zero about me. When I was sent back to Australia in 2017, I went to see Mum and Yan forgot already. Yan died, and when Yan died in the bus accident, he damn well knows he was sent back from heaven to earth because of me. And he blamed me for 27 years. We lost the relationship for 27 years. And Yan, you know, you were sent back from heaven to earth because of me. And you know it's true. You didn't talk to me for 27 years. The same day my mum first told me that the moment her worst moment in her life in 1945 was her, right, in her mum's arms in 1943. It was the first time she told me the same day that I was down the bathtub. And then it came to me in a time where times until life preserves, and I saw her and her mum and thought it was me. And then it came to me. My visions and dreams that tell the future are real. I'm the biggest mastermind on 7 peer reports that can do things in the future people can't do. Such as developing the glass that took our 14-year process down to 3.5. Such as, right, beating the X-ray machine, right, stamping an engine number 5 years before it came out. Mastermind reports, most wanted. You think it's a joke? It's you that live in denial. But what have I done? I put every network together in Australia and took down the highest death hierarchy in advanced mismatch in 30 years. Okay? With the most powerful true serum and love drug, the most powerful true serum and love drug, and supernatural, right, divine power, right, the most powerful enlightenment drug, love drug, and true serum in the world, declared worldwide to bring people back in the primordial state, to use 100% of their brain. You can see in the movie Limitless, and a genetic memory, genetic repair kit available to every human being on earth. Every human being has the same genetic memory with the same genetic ancestry tools to do every single thing that Christ can and more in their own DNA. DNA is declared the book of life, the Holy Grail of life, the book Freedom by Jim Miggers, held by 16,000 top scholars in the most powerful merge ever in human history in DNA, the book of life. And we're not breathing, the Holy Breath of life. I save people every day and bring them back in the primordial state so they never suffer mental disorders and defects ever again. No more stress, fear, and anxiety, confusion, frustration, delusion, paranoia, and go through a transformation with genetic repair kit. And it's proven with DNA studies from 2012 when I died. I went through a transformation and sat down with the top bodies, and they told me the whole lot that I genetically repaired everything and I could prepare my leg myself, and then I get up and do it like that, right in front of their face, and it becomes the most powerful confirmation. I do it myself, even for myself. It becomes my own confirmation because I didn't have faith till that moment. My book was stopped by the authorities in 2004 with 66 court orders, and they lied to everybody. They came to prison to stop my book and created all the corruption to keep me in jail, and they failed at every single thing they did. And they unlawfully deported and threatened 3 lots of lawyers who couldn't get to court. They cancelled BF chance which I do not have. That was established in 2009. I could not be deported. Chief Judge of Jersey says in 2010 in every university the 2 most corrupt cases in Australian history with 8 corrupt cases. And then I'm unlawfully deported by Peter Dutton, who was ordered to step down by Chief Judge of Jersey, responsible for this, right, for the shadow governments controlling the federal police. He was responsible. Then he takes down Tony Abbott, the Prime Minister, later, when he exposed the urine test that the government's authority, defence force and government workers are 80% on meth worldwide. And electronic medical device and vaccination with graphene oxide, right, with mind control weapons that we exposed in 1997 and exposed worldwide in the IP design reports on the 27th September 1999 on my birthday. It's not a fucking joke. Go look at the documents, 15,000 documents. The same electronic device that puts people in a mind trap in such a way that they're stripped from their sixth sense for the 6th time in the 6th mass extinction. And mental disorders and defects going through the roof with turbocharged rates. People can't function like people anymore. There are post-humans going through a zombie apocalypse reported on Hawaiian syndromes in every peer report in hospitals all around the world that people losing their magnetic pulse. Going into 6th mass extinction, stripping the 6th sense for the 6th time. They put up the New York climate clock with their 7-year countdown, 220 to 227. Go look at a 2-minute video on YouTube. The same top bowlers in the whole world that's getting arrested by NASA, right, to keep silent all the time. Yet they show you in the movies at the same time how much they deceive you with propaganda at exactly the same time. They lie to you in every single thing they possibly can and delude you so much you don't even know what's going on. So you turn a blind eye and just mind your own business, and that's what they want you to do. Go to work and pay the bills and turn a blind eye. The depopulation plan was set up by Rockefeller 300 years ago and put into play 100 years ago, and I've watched every single structure putting it into this. And right now, you look at the documents exposed worldwide now by the governments, they now know and telling you right to you in front of your face, long COVID is undiagnosed in most people and coming through the roof with mental disorders, DNA defects, blood clots, myocarditis and cancer in absolute major turbocharged rates over the next 10 years. They're telling you right in front of your face with documents all over the world, even by the governments, telling you right in front of your face that these things are on turbocharged rate with the biggest drug and stress pandemic and paranoid pandemic and stress-related diseases going into massive extinction and turbocharged rate worldwide. People who cannot think instinctively outside the mind are not in their 6th sense. Those who are in their 6th sense will go into another dimension with 7-fold wisdom and preserve DNA and live in the tree of life for 1,000 years, and they know that. They're telling you they have the tools of mentality to preserve DNA, to do everything Christ can and more. Go and look at Jeremy Griffiths. It's my DNA that leads this, and every human being on earth throws stones at me. Imagine how I feel. No wonder I'm so stressed out. No wonder I'm rejected by every human being on earth and no one even knows me. Well, now I'm dying from cancer and bleeding every day, sacrificing every single thing in my life I never gave up for anyone. But I'm dying now, and I know I'm dying. This is one of my last videos, right, with any power. I spent the whole day in hospital yesterday, and trust me, Marion knows I bleed every day, don't I, Marion? I cough blood all day, and it's getting worse, and I'm getting weaker. I'm dying, and I damn well know I'm dying. I've been battling cancer since methadone, since my stomach ulcers, and since it's been transferring non-stop from one place to the other. And here it is, taking over my system now. Lung cancer, throat cancer, and I'm bleeding everywhere. Tumours all over the place. And it's just a matter of time. It's only a matter of time, and I know that. So I am sacrificing everything in my life, and all I ask you to do is watch the video made this morning and watch the videos that I put with this post. Please, read my book, do the studies, do the education. There are 50 meters of documents written about me you can FOI. Go read all the documents and understand what the real truth is, because I'm the only person in the world telling the real truth that no one else can handle in the whole world. Yet I save humanity worldwide, okay? And spread that virus like you got no idea. With the most powerful people in the world and the most powerful documents with DNA, the Book of Life, the Holy Grail of Life, the Holy Breath of Life with the biggest DNA study done and the biggest think tank in the world. I'm right. Everybody else is wrong no matter what. And I was designed for this moment, and the Father put me through this in the day I was born, and that's why I went back to my brother and see my mum with the most powerful confirmation on earth at the same time, with the most powerful documents where he follows space and time in international airports. And my family knows I was deported unlawfully, and they know I couldn't get back in with a 6-page warning letter from Interpol. Could not travel on facial recognition, but I came back with the most powerful confirmation on earth. I'm not on one camera, every other passenger is. And it's solid evidence. I'm on CCTV outside on the train platforms. And the JP's confirmed, talking to me, especially the JP at Brisbane Airport, because we had a conversation. He said, what are you coming to Australia for? I said, I'm coming to look at the XYGT muscle cars. He said, I'm a Ford man too. I own a red GTO Mustang, confirmed by Border Security and written on the document, the most powerful image on earth. I'm not on one camera, every other passenger is. Not a glitch in the system. I'm on CCTV outside and JP confirms it. This is the most powerful confirmation on earth and nobody believes in it. Well, God developed all this and I didn't even know I had amnesia and went for a transformation myself, right? And I went through hell and I sacrificed every single thing in and out of hospital, stabbed 27 times, everything robbed from me, and everyone criticized me and everyone against me. And when I'm in detention center, I know my family's hurt, but they don't care. And as soon as I get deported, they don't care anymore. There's no love in these species. There's no love in them. They don't even care about each other anymore, not in real life. And I find it astonishing that they cannot wake from amnesia and the reincarnation trap and understand what this is all about, because they're too afraid and controlled by streets and society and live in a delusional state into themselves without a care factor. Yet this is the most powerful confirmation on earth worldwide. Why do you think they're going under military bunkers, right? The military, Trump, Biden, and the elite. Why are they going under in military bunkers by 227? Why did the Vatican say 227? Why did the Vatican, what? Why did NATO tell you worldwide just recently and put nuclear warnings on every phone in the world, right, with new warnings in 223? Why are they telling you to prepare food and everything for 3 days? And why are they going underground military bunkers, nuclear bunkers? Tell me. Why is NATO telling the whole world that in mainstream media? Because the Bible warns you about it. 3 days. And they're telling you right in front of your face. Because they know. They saw it in the looking glass. And they're exposing it worldwide with exposure and disclosure. And what did Jem McGiffin says? Those who think instinctively with their sixth sense were tuned out of the program to stay in the matrix, to go back in the primal state. Because we're going to 6 magic extinction, sticking the sixth sense those 6 times. And they put up the new climate clock with the 7-year countdown to 227. And they tell you, this is the most powerful number placed in the center of our society. The most powerful number placed in the center of our society. Our faunas collapse between 38 and 9% in true value. Animals go around circles over the earth, birds falling out the sky. 550,000 cattle died in 2019 like this in Australia, and 80,000 horses. 500,000 cattle in Kansas. 600,000 sheep in Middle East, and animals all over Africa going around circles and dropping like Hawaiian syndromes and losing their magnetic poles. And some birds fall down and die, and some get their bearings back with vertigo, like Hawaiian syndromes, vertigo, pins and needles and amnesia, and people losing their sixth sense, and also taste and smell with their 5 senses. It's reported worldwide. They're losing the magnetic fields worldwide and going into a zombie apocalypse. It's reported worldwide, going into a zombie apocalypse because they lost all their sixth sense and all their natural process with genetic memory in the most positive fields. They live in so much negativity, they're going to extinction. They live in so much negativity in a delusional state in their own truth, in a massive global distinction. And the atmosphere is collapsing, affecting fauna and nature worldwide. And people don't believe in it. Well, you can't feel the truth, can you? You only think about your mind, what you're told. And that's the only thing you use. You cannot feel the truth. You cannot feel loyalty, honor, respect, moral mercy, inspiration, encouragement, neither. Because you haven't got any. You haven't got any codependent and tuned to power. Because you lost it and gave it up for mentality in your reality, which is only a personality, but not spirituality. And God damn it, I became the biggest godfather in the underground world and put people together and stop violence and gang deaths. Okay? More people had faith in me than anyone else I've ever met in the world, no matter what people say. And they can throw stones at me and accuse me of what they like. But you know what? That only happened because of the cops and my own family spreading lies and rumors. And they believe liars and, right, they believe cops and they believe liars more than anybody. And I find it astonishing my own friends and family believes cops are liars when they know me better than that. when they know me better than that. So they don't know me at all when they believe cops are liars and governments are liars to deceive people, to deceive everybody. And they'd rather fall for the deception and then rip you off and throw you in the bin while you're in jail and disconnect from you and then blame you for what's going on. Because that's all they got. While you're in jail, they blame you for everything, steal all your money and lie to everybody and cannot take responsibility for their own action and even apologise. And that's all I've expected from them. I love my family. I love my friends, but they don't know how to love themselves. They don't know how to forgive themselves. I forgave them a long time ago, but they don't know how to forgive themselves because they can't face the responsibility with their own action. That's why. They live in moral guilt and shame, and it's taken them to the abyss. Whether they believe it or not, there's no way out of this. It's reported worldwide. We are having a natural selection, and most people are going for the unnatural selection in their mind, in their own truth, trapped into themselves. It's a known fact worldwide. And I'm just here to tell you that I love you with all my heart and soul, and this is my dying request. Watch my videos here, read my book, read the documents when I'm gone. That's all I ask from you. When I'm dead and gone, take a good look. Learn who I am. And this is a message to my children, especially all my children. To my ex-wife, Kirstine, right? To Christine, Brandon and Keenan, Chris, Craig and Bryan. Learn about your father and don't listen to what someone says or what you believe in. Look at the documents. Look at the evidence. Learn about who your father really is and stop avoiding it. Don't lie to people. Don't live in a delicious state. Because I'm the most authentic DNA and the most authentic human being on earth with the most powerful confirmation to back it up. I'm right and everybody else is a liar and everybody else is wrong. Trapped in their mind, can 87% in their brain. I use 100%. Recorded. The biggest master in my world that can use 100% of my mind, 100% of my brain. And brought out the most powerful truths in the world so people can do that as well. So don't think that you know about things when I cure the human condition and you wouldn't know how to. But you can do it genetically with genetic memory. And I'm trying to activate you back in your primal state so you too can go in a time where time settled in life for search for 1,000 years and never suffer the consequences. Never suffer again in your life. Freedom that you've only ever dreamt about. Trust me, I know. I'm not afraid of dying, guys. Okay? I'm afraid of everybody else. I'm afraid for you. I love you all so much, you've got no idea. I care more about you than you care about yourself. And that goes for all of you. And this is my dying request. Trust me, I know something you don't. I have days, Shabu, to predict the future and cross over, and I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of dying, man. I'm afraid for you, right, for not crossing over, for not understanding what the truth is. The only truth is going to set you free. And trust me, the liberation is sensational. And it's not religious, political behavior or cults, New Age cults. It's not religious, political or New Age cults. It's got nothing to do with that. It's thinking outside the mind, like you see in the movie Limitless. Okay, to use 100% of your brain. Like you see in the movie Keanu Reeves, the Matrix documentary. He thinks outside the mind and beats resurrection. Like Madame Web, the movie Madame Web. Right? It's all about Mad Max, the promised land, and crossing over to the end times. Do you know that? There's 1,000 movies made about this, and they know, and they're telling you right in front of your face, but you don't believe in it? Trust me, they know, and it's because you're in the wrong mindset. And you're warned about that in Revelation, and now it's being told all over the world that we're all in a great global deductive state. And only a handful of people can master the mind, think outside the mind, and use their biological genes and control their business from the outside in. While everyone's trapped in their mind with personalities and do not know what they do and do not know what they're missing out on. I'm not afraid of death, guys. Okay? I'm not afraid of death. I'm afraid for everyone else and I feel sorry because I know what you do not know. And I just want you all to know you have an opportunity to cross over with the 40-day fast and the book Freedom by Jim McGivers and When I Breathe the program for a transformation, a 3.5-year transformation in a genetic process that I went through myself with DNA to back it up. A massive transformation that I went through, I cannot explain, but DNA supports it and backs it up with the most powerful confirmation. And I didn't know in here. I was going through a transformation I didn't understand. And for a lot of things, but DNA backs it up. And 3.5 years later, I started to know. And there's genetic memory here involved in such a powerful way, it's recorded through DNA studies done. I predict the future, guys. And I'm not wrong. Everybody else is. I'm telling you, I'm the most powerful Godfather in the world that can save every one of you if you listen to what I say and practice what I preach. And trust me, I will save your soul. I will save your primordial being. I'm not going to save your personality or your mentality. I'm trying to save your soul and your spirituality from your own personality because you're not aware of this. The mind doesn't understand. As Jeremy Giver says, as Plato describes, right, in 15 books, the greatest philosopher of all time, that Jeremy Giver, the top scholars in the whole world, has studied for 45 years with DNA. And I know the truth. And as Jeremy Giver says, in the World Transformation Movement, you go look at a video on YouTube, the Great Transformation, we can all do what Christ can and more in our own genetic memory. And they found the largest human being on earth that can do what Christ can and more with genetic memory. The most loving, compassionate creatures with the most powerful spiritual aura, and the most loving, compassionate creature with the most spirituality, right, with it carry the right fruit. They bear the right fruit with an aura so powerful they have a relationship with everything. No mental disorders and no DNA defects. And since I've repaired all my mental disorders and DNA defects, I suggest you listen to what I say in Back to the Beach and understand I'm your father, I'm your brother, and I love each and every one of you, and I never give up on you. You give up on yourself, guys. Okay? Remember that. I love you to death. And I'm dying right now, and I've sacrificed everything in my life for this moment, and I'm sacrificing right now like Christ did. I know I'm dying. I'm bleeding blood every day, getting more serious, and I never give up because I'm here to sacrifice myself for every single one of you, and I will. I will, right? And I'm not afraid. I will cross over. I know my future. I'm not afraid, guys. And you have no reason to fear neither, because you'll not have a death experience. If you understand this, you'll never suffer the consequences, and you'll have life after life and eternal life. I guarantee it.